Okay, so let's get started. For our end of the unit, we're going to be looking at some review and talking about, if you want, yeah, or you can stay, same. Looking at some review for the unit, the grammar, making sure we understand as much as we can. So let's have a look. Let's go through the review part, the exercises, and put it into practice. For Unit 4, review. In our textbook, page 56. So we've got here complete the sentences with the ing form. Now, just before we talk about this exercise, number 1, I just wanted to say again that when we talk about activities, so remember our, thank you. When we talk about activities, what we enjoy doing, we talk about having an action first. So like we do, we go, we play, and then we say the sports. So think of it that way. I go walking. I do yoga. I play soccer. So you've got the verb and then you've got the noun. The noun is really the sports. So if we look at this, it says, I love, because we also talked about using the present simple to talk about what we like, what we dislike. That means what we don't like. So if I said the subject, I like or love. So I'll just put here love, just like our example, like, love, enjoy, prefer, and then it has to be an ing. So that's a structure that we can use. There's many, but that's one of them to talk about our activities, what we enjoy, what we do, activities, hobbies. So subject, I, the verb, we're going to pick one of these, love, enjoy, prefer, like, and then this one has an ing. This is the activity. So the activity is here, really, at the end. Might put it like that. So we must use a verb first here, and then the activity and the subject. So it looks like that. I love, and there must be an activity here. It's great exercise. Swimming, yeah. So we can see, I'll just talk about the negative first. The negative, we say don't, I don't, you don't, we don't, they don't, or doesn't. Doesn't is only he, she, it. That's it. He doesn't like swimming. She doesn't like swimming. It doesn't like swimming. So let's talk about exercise 1. So we said, I love swimming. Yeah, it's great exercise. It has to be swimming. It can't be I love watching. It's great exercise. No. I love listening. It's great exercise. I love going. Usually I love going somewhere. So I love swimming is number 1. Number 2, he. So remember we've got he likes playing. Yeah, so he likes playing tennis. So this is the example of he, she, it needs an S. He likes playing tennis. So it's still got the same structure. It's just got tennis added here. So he likes playing tennis. She, this is the negative. We talked about the negative. We use don't or doesn't. It looks like we have she, so it must be doesn't. So she doesn't like She doesn't like going to the gym. Yeah, because we go to the gym. They love listening because we listen to music, listening to jazz music. They love listening to salsa music. They love listening to samba. They love listening to music. You can just say music. So same thing, the subject, they, we picked one of these verbs, love listening to jazz. Good. So the last one, we don't, negative, we don't like watching football on TV. Yeah, we don't. That's the negative. We don't like watching, and then the activity. So pretty simple to talk about what we like or what we don't like. What we like and don't like. Because the negative, we don't. I don't like. We don't like. She doesn't like. Okay, let's do number 2. Now, number 2 is using adverbs. So remember we talked about adverbs being how often you do something. So if you do it a lot, a little, sometimes, think of like the top one being always and the bottom one being never. And then you have words that are in the middle. So, I sometimes like swimming. I always go swimming. I never play soccer. I occasionally read a book. So these words that I've just said, always, never, usually, sometimes, occasionally, often, they're called adverbs. And so if I look at the first one, Shelley, we have to use the adverb and then the activity. So this one is subject plus the adverb plus the activity. So I have it here, subject plus. So this rule, we're just adding an adverb. That's the difference. So adverb. Okay. So Shelley never watches TV. Number 2, Chris often, so we put the often here, watches TV. So subject, and then the adverb, and the activity. You remember the activity? It has a verb and then the noun. Watches TV, going swimming, doing yoga. So Chris often watches TV. So we don't put an ing. It's not Chris often watching TV because we didn't put it with the like. Or this example was because it had like or love in front of it. So this is just a different one. Now we're not really telling if we like or love it, but how much. He often watches TV. But we can also put the often at the end. Chris watches TV often. But it's more common to put it here. So I'll take that one off. Just put this in another column. Maybe that's a bit easier. Okay, so then we have number 2. Chris often watches TV. 3. Annette goes to the cinema once a month. So this one's at the end, the adverb. Once a month. And we said goes because we know it's still in the present simple. She goes. So we're using the present simple here with adverbs. Shelley the order. Yeah, so you could say Shelley plays computer games. It's more common here. Or you can put it at the beginning. Sometimes Shelley plays computer games. Often Chris watches TV. It's only common with some of them. Like this one, yes, it could go at the beginning. Not all of them. Always try and put the adverb here before the activity, but sometimes does work at the beginning of the sentence. Sometimes Shelley plays computer games. Net. Yeah, this one it works. Yeah, once a month, Annette goes to the cinema. Yeah, more common at the end for this one. Yeah. Chris. Yeah, so you can put it at the beginning or at the end. It's more common, it looks like, if you think of putting, if you remember some of them. So, sorry, Chris plays computer games once a month. So when you have the once a week, once a month, put that at the end. If you have sometimes, remember you could start the sentence with sometimes or in the middle. Often is more in the middle. Sometimes in the front or in the middle. But this one, once a month, it should go at the end. Chris. So we know sometimes, better always the first option, put it in the middle. Chris sometimes goes to the cinema. So Chris sometimes goes to the cinema. Because you remember, he goes. If it said, I sometimes go, we sometimes go. But because it's he, she, it, he sometimes goes to the cinema. Annette doesn't often. Yep, because it's she doesn't often. So similar to where we said with Chris, it must go after the subject. So it's just a negative. So she doesn't often play computer games. Yep. And the last one, Shelley usually goes to the gym on the weekend. So always think of putting the adverb here after the subject before the activity. But for once a month, once a week, once a year, or every, if it has the word every summer, every winter, leave it at the end. But most of the time, the adverb will go here. Remember, adverb tells us how often, when, like all the time, always, never, sometimes, occasionally. Yeah. Can be in the middle or the beginning. Yeah. So once a month or once a whatever, and every. When you say like every month, every fortnight. But then these can also go at the beginning. I mean, yeah, it just doesn't sound. Chris plays once a month. You just don't put it in the middle. That's all. So with once and every, it's at the end or it's at the beginning. Because you could say every day Chris plays computer games, or Chris plays computer games every day. So it's like, it looks like this. So when you have subject and you have the words every, whatever, every day, every week, or once, whatever, they go at the end. Yeah, once, twice, yeah. So they go at the end. So I'm going to put activity here. Or this can also go at the beginning, but not in the middle, like the rule that we learned. So they would go like this. So we can see these ones. So that's what it looks like. So subject, activity, these ones at the end, or in the beginning, subject, activity. Every summer, every month, every Christmas. That's some other examples. Once a week, twice a week, twice a month, once a year, once in a blue moon. We have a saying, once in a blue moon. Do you have that in Portuguese or Spanish? Yeah, once in a blue moon. When the moon like comes up as a color blue. Let me show you an image of that. Once, it means like, oh my God, hardly ever. Like in a small chance. Once in a blue moon. Means when the moon looks like this. It's a saying, once in a blue moon. It means rarely. That's a very good picture, rarely. You know, like for example, you know, you do something like not much. So this is a good example. So once in a blue moon, it means very rarely. We eat pork once in a blue moon. So maybe the last time they ate pork was like 5 years ago. So you can see it's a very long time. So once in a blue moon, it means like in a very long time. We eat pork. It's been a very long time we didn't eat pork or we eat pork. Okay? We eat pork once in a blue moon. Yeah. That's a nice saying. Okay? This is a saying. Once in a blue moon. Yeah, it's a saying. So it's not, I don't think that ever happens, blue moon. Um, so that's a nice one. I'll put a little image here in our notes. Do you have this same saying? No? Ah, once in a blue moon. I use it quite a bit. Yeah, once in a blue moon. It just means hardly ever. Like something you never do that much. You know, like this one is a good example. Once in a blue moon means not very often. Once in a long period of time, like maybe never. Like this person says, I only get to see my family once in a blue moon now that I live in France. So that's it. They live in France. They don't travel much back to Australia. So once in a blue moon, maybe once every 3 years or 5 years. So not much, not very often. I only get to see my family not very often now that I live in Paris. Okay, let's keep continuing. So we have finished. We'll go to number 3. We remember we looked at can, and can shows us that we are able to, we know how to do something. So it's different to say, I go swimming, but it's showing someone I can swim because not everybody can do it. I can swim. She cannot swim, but I can swim. It's different to I like swimming. I love swimming. I go swimming every day. It's a different sentence. It's I can. And you want to ask someone, can you draw? Can you read Italian? It's different to just saying I speak Italian, but I can read and speak Italian. I know how to. So you're showing someone by saying can, you know how to do something. Negative, cannot or can. And it works for all subjects. I cannot, she cannot, he cannot, it cannot, we cannot, they cannot, and whatever the activity is. So can you speak Italian? See. Yes, I can, but not very well. Yeah. So we can write the question. So it's a question. Remember, it starts with a verb. Questions usually start with a verb or with the 6 W's or the how or the do or does. So can you speak Italian? Like, do you know how to? And someone said, yes. That's the answer. Yes, I can. So always say, yes, I can. No, I can't. And then if you want to say more information. So this person said, yes, I can, but not very well. Can you swim fast? Can you swim fast? No, but I can run fast. If you want, no, I can't, but I can run fast. So you could still put no, I can't, but I can run fast. Or you're going to say no, but I can run fast. I can play the guitar. Can you? So you can just say, can you? But only if you've said what it was first. You know, I can speak German. Can you? So I can only say, can you, without saying, can you speak German? Only if I said that I could do it first. So someone says, I can play the guitar. Can you? The answer was no, but I can play the piano. So say yes or no first, and then if you want, give more information. Maybe you play something else. I can sing very well. Can you? The answer, no. I can't. But my friend, so they wanted to give some more information, but my friend can sing very well. And the last one, how well? So remember we looked at these questions. How well can you play? So how well? Very well, not very well. Whenever you hear how well, if you want just the basic answer, think very well, not well. How well can you speak Spanish? Very well. How well can you play soccer? Not very well. How well can you dance? Very well. So think of very well, not very well. And then we have many other words you could say. Perfectly well, hardly well, really bad. So we looked at that in the previous lesson. So we have all the different ways of responding to how well in the other lesson. But for now, let's do the exercise. How well can you play? Not very well. So you can't say no. It's the question wasn't can you, it was how well can you play football, soccer, golf? Not very well. So when we use can, we can talk about what we like and not like. We can use adverbs. Not with can. Now we know how to talk about what we like and don't like. That was the first part. I love, I like. Remember the activity has an ing here. I love going swimming. I love doing yoga. We know how to talk about what we don't like. I don't like playing frisbee. She doesn't love walking animals. We can use adverbs to say how often, every day, every week, once a month, sometimes, occasionally, usually. That's called adverbs. We put it here, subject, adverb, activity. And we can use can and can't to talk about what we are able to do, what we know how to do. And it goes here, can. Okay, I think let's get into the extra materials because I know we've got a test coming up. So I know we didn't finish the review, but let's get into extra materials. So we have the extra materials. Sorry, I didn't open it up. Okay, extra materials. So we have a conversation between a woman and a man. So the woman is Letizia and the man is Conrado. Yeah, so what are we learning here? Adverbs. So we use them to talk about how often we do something. So in the example, the question was, how often do you go swimming? How often do you watch football? How often do you go to the opera? Whatever activity. How often do you do the activity? Every month. So adverbs are saying every month, every week, always, never, sometimes, usually, occasionally. And that's it here. So we can see 100%, always, usually, often is like in the middle, sometimes, about 40% of my time, not often, and never. I never go, I never play, I don't know, whatever sports or activity. And we said before that we put it after the subject. He often goes to the cinema. He sometimes watches football. He never goes to the opera. If it's a negative, we use don't or doesn't. And we can add that before the adverb. So if I just put in some notes, so we have the adverbs. So they're words like always, sometimes, usually, occasionally, hardly, never, words like that. There's many more. So we have subject, the adverb, and the activity. But we can also say a negative to it, like I don't, or remember he, she, it. I don't always go to the cinema. So that's where I need to make the negative. It's not really a negative. It's just saying I don't always. It's still important to say, I'm showing you I don't always do it. I sometimes do it, but I don't always do it. So that's the rule. So the not often, we don't say not often. I not often go to the cinema. I don't often. Then we have, once a day, once a week, once a month, once a year, twice a day, 3 times a year, every day, every week. These ones go at the end. Remember we had it before in the exercise. We said that once or every go at the end after the activity, or it could go at the beginning of a sentence. So only for these ones, the once that, or twice or 3 times, whatever, or the every, they can go at the beginning. Or it could go at the end. So it should look like this. Questions. How do we make questions? With the questions, we use the do or the does, remember? Do you often go to the cinema? Do you always play soccer? So adverb, I can use whichever one. Do you hardly play soccer? But usually we always ask someone, do you always do that? Do you sometimes? They're more common. Do you usually? You hear a lot of questions like that. Or how often? You can even put that word because we know we're using adverbs tell us how often. So they tell us how often. So just use the how often in your answer. So how often, subject, how often do or does, how often do you play soccer? So the response, I always play soccer. I play soccer once a week. I hardly ever play soccer. So you can respond with adverbs. So respond with adverbs. We know what they are. They're here. It's words like these. So you respond with adverbs. Before we practice it, let's look at some vocab of activities, hobbies, sports. Play football, watch football. We play tennis, we play golf, we play basketball, unless we're watching it on TV. We go to the cinema or we go to the theater. We go to the opera. We do yoga. Remember, the verb can change. We do yoga. We don't play yoga. We do taekwondo, not play taekwondo. We do whatever other sports. Yes, capoeira. I wanted to say capoeira, but I didn't want to. I have to write that as my example. You do capoeira. How often? So after someone's told you the activity that they do, you can ask them, oh, how often? Because you want to know, do they do it once a week, once a month, once a year? You know, you're interested to know how often. Every day? If someone told you they love reading books, you want to know, well, how often? Every day do you read a book or once a week? Like, how often? So that's what it means. How often? And it's a question. Okay, let's get into some exercise. Got some few more minutes. So write the sentences: Lucy, John, and Chris and Sally. Now, Lucy, we know subject, adverb. So we're looking here, subject, adverb, activity. So Lucy never goes to the opera. John goes to the opera. We said that every and all that, we leave it at the end of the sentence. Every month. Conrado, what can you tell me about Lucy and the cinema? What do we know? So it would be this one. Yeah. Lucy often goes to the cinema. Yeah. Chris and Sally, Fernando. Yeah, but the subject is they. So what do we do with the verb? Go. Chris and Sally go to the cinema every Thursday. They go. So I'll just write it here. So it's Chris and Sally go to the cinema every Tuesday. The one before, Lucy goes to the cinema Lucy often goes. Okay, number 3. Number 4. We did number 5. Odilon. John. John goes because he, she, it. It's he. John, he goes to the cinema twice a week. Yep. Good. Chris and Sally, Letizia. Theater. Theater. Teacher. No. The for TH. The E. Theater. 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 Yeah, it sounds like this. E. A. Ter. Theater. Theater. Yeah. They go to the theater. You said sometimes? Chris and Sally go to the theater sometimes? Yeah, sometimes it's more common to put Chris and Sally sometimes. Remember we said before that adverbs usually go before the activity. So Chris and Sally sometimes. Joanna, Lucy. Yeah, theater once a month. Once a year. Once a year. Once a year. Yeah. So she goes to the theater once a year. And John Conrado. Doesn't often. Yeah. Or he sometimes. Sorry. Doesn't often. Yes. Good. Because we don't say not often. We say doesn't. Yes. Often. Go to the theater. Yeah. Doesn't often. That's the negative. So let's see what else we can practice. Yeah. John doesn't often go to the theater. Yeah. And that's how we pronounce it. Let's keep continuing. So I play football twice a week. So you got to put this word where it needs to go. So number 2 now. Number 2, Conrado, again. They always, where does that word on go? They always go Yes. Sorry? So we say on for days of the week, on Monday, on Tuesday. So straight away on should be attached to the days of the week. So they go to the cinema on Saturday. They always go to the cinema on Saturday. So we use on to say on for days of the week. So the rule is on. You've got days of the week, on Christmas, so the occasion, on New Year's, and on, yeah, that's the rule. Number 3, Jenny, Fernando. Jenny goes to the opera once a year. Yeah, once a year. You can't separate that. That's once a year, once a week, once. You can change this one, but once a must always stay the same. Once a year, once a week, once a fortnight, once a year. Yeah. 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 So, Jenny, number 4. I play. Ojalon, I play. So the same thing. We can't separate. It's you have to keep it together. So it could be 2 times a month, once a month. You only put time when it goes more than 1. 5 times a month. Could be 5 times a week. So this app must stay in its place, and the time they go together. You can change this one 3 times a week, or 2 times a week, or 10 times a week. Number 5, Letizia, Lee. Yeah, to make it a negative, doesn't often go to the cinema. Anita, Joanna. Anita goes to the cinema every weekend. Yeah, every weekend. Conrado, I watch. Yeah, once a week. You can only change this one. You can't change a week. Once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. And every weekend, every month, every fortnight. So again, they're just ways that we say it, once a week. That was I watch. The last one, Fernando, I go. Yeah, yeah, you said it right. Yeah, twice a year. So we can only change the twice. It could be, you know, I go to the theater 3 times a year. I go to the theater 6 times, twice a year. So the a always is connected to a week, a year, a month.
When, one time.
What is it, sorry?
21 times.
Yes, 21 times.
Correct, or 21 times?
No, so I go to the theater 21 times a year. Yeah.
Only 1 and 2 is once and 5.
Yes. Because 3, yes. So when you get to more than 2, sorry, that's the rule. When you get to more than 2, you put time. So it's it looks like this. It's once a week, for example. It's twice a week. And then it's 3 times a week. 4 times a week. 5. Yes, you can see that it's already filling it in for me. So yes, so only the once, they have their own, you don't put time. It starts from 3 onwards, 3 times a week, 4 times. We start adding times here. Yeah, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, 10 times, 11, 12, 13 times. Yeah. A few more minutes. Let's practice. Let's go back to the can. So on the following page, we've got this conversation. So can, remember, ability. It talks about what you can do, because not everyone can do it. So think of it that way. When you want to show that you know to do something, because not everybody can do it, then you say can. So we see we can make sentences, I can do an activity, or negative, I cannot. Does not change for he, she, or it. She does not, he does not, we cannot, they cannot, I cannot. The question, start with the verb. So to make a question, can,
Not can, not.
I cannot, yeah. It is. Yeah, I don't know why they wrote it like that. Cannot. It works because it didn't underline. So if I said I always write it 2 letters. I cannot see you next week. Yeah. Yeah, so you've got 3 ways. You can write cannot, or can't with the, unless it's not self-correcting me, but I don't use the connected one. Yeah, they're both correct. But it's funny, it says cannot is more common. But I definitely separate them. Or I say can't. That's more common. I can't see you this week. Oh, I can't find my book. So it's funny they say that's more common. Again, maybe it depends what country, but yeah. So 3 ways. And remember the activity. So all this week, we've been talking about the activity. We've been talking about free time. What do we do in our free time in our activities? What activities do we enjoy? Do we like? So let's practice really quickly. Because so yes, answer with yes or no. No, I cannot. Yes, I cannot. Just the same way as do. So answer. So remember no or yes. And then it depends. Yes, I can or no, I can't. And remember, we can use adverbs if you want. Can you play soccer well? So let's, I'm going to go around. I'm going to ask someone a question, and then you ask the next person a question. So, for example, Conrado, can you, so we're using the question. So can you, sorry, that was the negative, but the question, that was the negative. So the question would be starting with can, subject, can you, activity, and then I'm going to add an adverb. So I want to know if you can do it very well. So for example, I want to know okay, so sorry, we're doing the question with the adverb. So can you, and I'm going to pick an activity and I want to know how well. So Conrado, can you can you drive very well? Drive a car very well? Yes, I can. Okay, good. Yeah. Hey, Alan, how are you? Good, good. And Leonard? Yes. So now, Conrado, ask Fernando if he can do something, not just, can he speak Italian? Can he speak, but can he speak Italian very well? Can he play soccer very well? So we'll practice the very well. Can you do something very well? So very well or very fast, if it's something to do with. Yeah. 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 Can you play drums? Yeah. Yeah. I cannot. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, good. Ask Odilon a question. No, can you? We're practicing can. Yeah, there's no ing. Can you dance very well? Yeah, good. No, I can't. Or you can make a sentence. I cannot dance very well. Or I dance very badly. You can even put I dance not very well. Okay, Odilon to Letizia. Can you? Yeah. Yeah. Can you drive very well? Yeah. Yeah. So we don't want to know if she can just do it, but can she do it good? There's a difference. Because yes, we can say, can you drive? And she'll say, yes, I can. but I want to know, can she drive very, very good, very well? So there's a difference to the questions. That's why this one, we're adding an adverb because we don't want to know if she can just do it. Yes, I can. No, I can't. But can you do it so well, so good? Okay, Letizia to Joanna. And what was the question? Yeah, can you play volleyball very well? No, not very well. Yeah, good. So a negative could be no, not very well. No, I can't. No, not very well. Okay, let's have a break because we have the test coming up on Unit 4. See ya. See you. I'm going to sleep now. Okay, so we'll finish there and we'll come back next week with Unit 5, which will be about food. So for now, that's where we end for Unit 4. Remember, Unit 4, quick recap. It's about activities, what we do in our free time and our hobbies. We talked about if we like, love something, don't like something. We asked if we can do something and how often, how well. So remember, that was all what Unit 4 was about. Okay, so let's finish here. Until next week, next lesson about food.